Okay, and officially, good morning, and welcome out to the Market Watch Group Weekly Opening Bell. My name is Scott. Great group. Everyone's here already. More probably coming. Good morning, Sandy. Good morning, David. Good to see you both. What are we going to do today? Well, first, let me remind you of our disclaimers. We're not brokers or advisors. We don't give advice or recommendations. This is for education and illustrative purposes only. Today's agenda we'll look at the opening futures. We'll look at the news. We know the news is coming, right? It's not like we're expecting much overnight when we know what's on the docket. We know that on Tuesday, it's election day, with very little expectations of knowing anything that night. Whatever you think you know that night. The question is, do we wake up on Wednesday knowing anything? And then we have on the other thing that's happening on Tuesday, while everyone goes to vote, the FOMC starts to meet. It says, are we going to knock it another quarter point? I think the consensus answer is yes. I think the month-to-month numbers hiccuped a little bit, but overall the year-over-year numbers are consistently down. I don't think that there's any reason they wouldn't, especially the PCE number, which is their favored number. So I think the expectation, we'll look at the number here in a second, but quarter point. Mindset for trades, carrying a few, not many. That's me. I asked around the group, and that seemed to be a general consensus. But let me know if anyone is like, hey, maybe you're in nothing, and that also would make sense. The thing for me that I would struggle with if someone was like fully loaded right now, like, oh yeah, I'm maxed out with my risk. I'd be like, really, maxed out? Okay. And either it works out or they learn a lesson, right? And then they decide what that lesson is. That's trading for us. We don't know what's going to happen. We know that there's increased expectations of volatility with uncertainty of direction. That just say it out loud and then be like, do you want to trade aggressively into that, or do you want to kind of keep it close and ready to adapt? So that's where I am. I've scaled back on bullish, just entered bullish, but not much, not a lot. I've got a hedge. I'm ready to be nimble. Mindset for open trades, we sort of talked about that already. We'll look at the opening range and watch it. We'll go through the watch list to see there's still a great watch list. Like we can't ignore everything either. We've got to either be ready to get things on quickly, have things already on, because the election and the Fed could be the catalysts. So if you only have a few things on and then they hit it and then it takes off and you miss an entire move, that's going to be frustrating. So you have to be thinking like, all right, what do I have that I would enter as a continuation trade if things started to move quickly and I needed to pop on a couple of trades? That's my mindset. All right, let's get to it. Let me get up some pre-market information. This week's trading plan, ironically, is routines. Question number 1. Do you have a fully fleshed out morning routine? And I would think no matter what, you should have at least, I think, 2 routines. I guess if you have like a real early start on your job and you're like, I'm not waking up 10 minutes early to get a 10-minute routine in. Okay. But you heard it, right? You just have to wake up 10 minutes early and you get a 10-minute routine in before you leave to make sure everything's... I personally feel like if I knew I couldn't look at it while at my job, I would feel much better if I at least took a peek in the morning, right? Like, if you can look at it during the day, make a routine for when and for how long, And what are you going to do? When, how long, and what are you going to do? When is your evening routine? Doesn't matter if you do it at 4:01 p.m. Actually, it's maybe at least 4:15 p.m. Eastern for the dust to settle. Or if you wait until 11:15 p.m. Nothing changes. That's the great thing about your evening routine is you're just doing a post-market assessment. What happened? Why? What does that lead me to think for tomorrow? Just always looking to transition from one day to the next. Okay, so what's going on? Futures, S&P are flat. Dow down marginally. NASDAQ marginally down. Russell 0.2. Oil up 2.7%. Gold marginally up. Yeah, oil is still quite volatile. The Middle East situation seems to be a lot of saber rattling, and the oil market seems to have picked up on that, but there's still some volatility there. Palantir earnings provide litmus tests for 140% AI-fueled rally. Wall Street is counting on Powell to keep Fed rate cuts on track. So talking about the Fed, talking about the election, talking about chips and AI. NVIDIA, TSM, Palantir, those are three that are core on our watch list for this week. That's setting up, looking good. Nothing new in there. Let's look at the economic calendar. I don't know why. There we go. So today, factory orders, nobody cares. Tomorrow, the trade deficit, ISM services, nobody cares. And the election. I'm sorry. I'm a day off. I forgot that they don't make the Fed meet on election day. We have a day in between. See, this is why we look at the calendar. So we have election on Tuesday. The Fed starts meeting on Wednesday. And again, there's all these nothing reports. Like, if you're ever like, does this matter? No one cares. No one's watching. Maybe if there was like some catastrophic thing that like only show, like I can't imagine that. Anyways, Thursday. Now we get Jerome. Jobless claims. So we had a big drop in employment numbers. The October employment numbers based on seasonality. But if you notice, we never saw it come with a build in the initial jobless claims. Yeah, where's Austin? Love Austin. Goolsby for Fed. 220, that's fine. That is absolutely fine. So I actually think that the employment, at least on initial, because you saw that the market didn't really blink too hard at that report either. Why? Because it recognized the seasonality of it, which lowered the implications. And we haven't seen any confirmation in jobless claims. So for now, we'll assume, not that it's growing, but if we're at least maintaining, that's all we need. All we need. Real quick peek at the Fed watch before the market opens. We know the market's opening flat. And then we'll just talk about our posture if you didn't see it and go from there. So, Fed watch. There is basically a 99.8% probability priced in and that we will get that cut. Okay, let's take a sneak peek at December. So another 82% chance of one last cut this year. I think we're all kind of in that same boat, right? It seems So, yeah. Okay, as the market opens, let me grab the posture. We'll take a look. Google, Walmart, and an S&P. Okay. Google, Walmart. That's strong. Strong. Love that. Wow. I don't know what's going on with my Microsoft not wanting to open, but that's fine. You can see we opened right in line with our previous day close, right where Friday was. We're picking up there again. You remember on Thursday when we talked, we said that Friday's action was going to be a big deal. Was it a follow day where it just kept on selling and moved down here? No. Was it a lower doji, right? A doji down here at the bottom that said, hey, we seem to have a little bit of stability, but yeah, it's so weird. Like, I've never had... I think I need to restart my computer. I can't get my Excel document to open. You know what? I have a picture of it. That's fine. What is going on? Here it is. Maybe. My computer has... There we go. All right. Let's go through it. So our posture stayed the same. Last week, I was like, oh, I bet it drops. In fact, I even thought at one point, I was like, it could drop a half a point, I thought. Which is why we try not to think and see instead. Because I was like, oh, maybe this, maybe that. But when you dive in and you actually do the analysis, that's when it really matters. So what happened? The long term dropped like I thought it would because we broke. That was not... I keep emphasizing this because I think it's important to recognize. That didn't break. Oh, there it is. Look at that. It took a while. That didn't break down because of the weakness of last week. It broke down because of the weakness over the past couple of months. Not when the sellers were in control, which is what we were looking at, but when the buyers were in control. The buyers were the ones who lost that 1.5. The sellers didn't earn it. That's what I'm trying to say, right? That's an important distinction because to me that indicates more of a trend deceleration than a trend reversal. Those are the two concepts, right? Is it decelerating? Was it just like a slightly lower angle trend? That's fine. For the time being, it can reaccelerate at any time, especially during the Santa Claus rally and into next year like we saw last year. So 1.25 short term, even with last week's drop, it didn't make a lower low, didn't change the angle of the trend. 1.75 stayed intact. Volume, buyers snuck a day in right at the end and kept the minus 0.25. A little bit of a waver back and forth as to whether or not we might actually take that to zero, which would be a little bit of positive momentum. We didn't. I don't think anyone did. Major markets stayed the same. No change. Sector rotation gave us 0.25 point. And it's funny because for a while, sector rotation was such an interesting component where we're like, what is going on? We've got utilities off the charts. It was just like, what is happening? It didn't score well for a long time. Look at it down in the 0.25 point. It was a 0. It was a minus, I think, for a little while. But all of a sudden, the clouds parted. And what do we see in sector lineup? We see technology moving back into leaders. We see financials, we see industrials, we see Uh, Communication services, like the full growth lineup, plus utilities, plus utilities, which again we're open to. Is this just utilities changing its dynamic as the usage of electricity for new growth sectors like crypto, like AI, are significantly raising the demands? Okay, sectors increased. The VIX stayed the same. Where did we end up? Same place, 4.75. Nice, solid bullish number. More important than that, what I want you to look at is we have gotten through. We were at a 5.5 on September 29th. It is now November 3rd. And over the course of October, oh, October. Nobody loves October. Last October was not great. Here's this October. We started here. Yeah, we got a great window to start the month. Then it came down. So overall, the market from October to now is flat. From the beginning, they're flat. The market was flat. I asked the question, how did everybody do? Are you positive in October? So if you're positive in October, that means that when it went up, you made money. When it went down, you didn't give much back or didn't give all back or whatever, but you're ahead of the market. At any given time, that's the first way to assess yourself as a trader. If you can't outperform the market, it's very hard to justify continuing to do it, right? Like if you said, all right, I do nothing. If I'm passive and I stick the money in the S&P, I'm going to get 8, 9%. I mean, and that's questionable. It depends on what period of time you're averaging to get that over the last, whatever it is, 20, 25, 30 years. But let's just say, benefit of the doubt, 8 or 9%. That's the minimum, right? The objective is, let's see if we can at the very least double the market. Now it's worthwhile. And if some people sometimes when they think like 16 to 20% annual, is that going to make you retire this year? No. Is that going to get you to retirement sooner? Is that going to give you a better retirement when you get there? 16 to 20%. Ask Warren Buffett what that gets you, 20% a year. Can we do better even than that? Yeah, a good year for sure. If the market's up 30% in the year, should we be up 40, 50? Yes, of course. We should be outperforming the market. Anyways, okay, so let's just take a quick 7 minutes in. What's the opening range telling us? Sellers are starting today. Open flat. Sellers testing it. We've got, you can see we're testing this limit here, which we already tested to some extent. This is Thursday. And if you remember on Thursday, we had those two just nasty sells right at the last 10 minutes. We were holding this support level, trying to come off it, and then it came down. But then it's as if those two didn't happen. It's as if this did hold and we continued on this trajectory. So I think that this is important where we are. This 570 to me is important right now. 568.5 is more important. This could be tested like it was here. It could come down in this area like it did here. But we'll see. Already you can kind of see the markets coming back up from that. Those are the levels I'll be watching intraday if I'm taking a peek and seeing what this market does. We'll come back and check on this. But overall, now you can see how what we're looking at and those lows that we saw established. Interestingly, on this day, those lows were just the last two candles that created the bottom of this long range candle. Just the last two that did that. So, we've got a little bit of a cushion within there to hold. We're sitting still right on the 50. We're still above that prior low there. So, okay, let's see. Not a lot of expectations over the next couple of days, but let's go through the watch list and see what it has us thinking. Okay, so Apple had their earnings. The earnings were actually good, but not good enough, right? Um, Good, but not good enough, and the market responded. Um, but honestly, at this point, I think let's see if it stabilizes. What do I need to see? Am I looking to call this bottom here now that it's even a little bit lower than that? I don't know. I would actually say that's viable if you were thinking about it, right? Like it's only a little lower. You could say, you know what, I might try this and see if I can just catch it back up to 235. You've got 15 points. I could put a stop loss down in this area, risk 4, make 15. Viable trade if it turns off of this. Hasn't turned yet. I was at first thinking, no, I wouldn't. But now as I look at it, I'm like, you know what? I maybe would just take that. You don't even need this whole thing. You can see this last trade, we were looking for it to make a growth move up to 245. But here, I just need a sideways move. We'll see. We'll keep our eye on that. I didn't have that on my watch list, actually, for... I don't think. Sorry, I'm trying to find it. There it is. This week's watch list. No, I didn't. But I'm probably going to add it. Give me your thoughts about Apple. Oh, you guys are quiet today. Okay, let's keep going. Amazon. I like Amazon, but we knew Amazon was overextended. We knew we have to wait for the dust to settle. So Amazon pulling back like this is actually good. I would actually put 190 Apple iPro Max. Oh, are you like in a online queue or something? Is it like today's like a release day? Whatever phone is out, you can expect that I'll be 2 models behind. Wherever there's when they're like, oh, you're due for an upgrade. I'm like, great. What's the best phone I get for free? That's the one I want because I don't care. Came out already? Oh, okay. Either way, Amazon on the pullback. I like it. It's on my list. APO. I like it. It's on my list, but it's also reporting earnings tomorrow. So, do with that with what you will. You can see where the volatility is. You can see what happens. That vol is going to drop after earnings. AppLovin. I always do that. I can't decide on if I want one or the other. I think it looks fantastic. Now has AI embedded. I have AI embedded too. It's called the ChatGPT app. It's that close for me. Can AI control the iPhone? Maybe it's worth it then. If you can be like, do this, then it could be worth it. I find I have AI battles because technically Alexa is AI, right? You can ask Alexa questions and have her look up things, but her knowledge, while she does control my house, her knowledge is significantly below ChatGPT. I want ChatGPT in Alexa, but there's no good way to do that yet. So I find myself with a lot of different AI. I want one comprehensive solution. Back to AppLovin. Looks great, but it's got earnings, so we'll see. I mean, just look at an amazing run that it's on. Literally doubled itself just now since September. Siri did that. See, I don't even know all the different functions. I just know ChatGPT is my favorite. AXP. All right, so this is one that you may or may not be carrying. What's it doing? It's really starting to deviate a little too far. I don't know. Last time it did the same kind of a thing, though, right? As it went 1, 2, 3, 4 days. I'm gonna give it another day. I'm gonna stay. Bank of America, kind of the same thing, sitting on that level. BK setting up maybe after the hiccup. Never broke support. BX has never broken support. So they're meandering sideways, right? They're not. There's some uncertainty, but they're certainly not stellars. The trends are intact. Uh-oh, voice is in and out. Okay. Let me check. Voice, it says that I'm on the good microphone. Is it still in and out? Oh. If you guys can hear me, my Discord is frozen. I'm going to have to just... There we go. Let's bring Discord back up. Okay, I'm back. Can you hear me? Sorry, I got bounced. Yes? Okay. Let me turn my screen back on. So the good thing is I'm usually back on within a few seconds when it does bounce me, but that is an issue, which, by the way, we are solving for. I'm very excited. I would expect this week we are in beta groups. Next week we are in elective migration. The following week we are in forced migration. Let's see. What does that put us at? This week, beta group. Next week, elective migration. The 18th through the 23rd, forced migration. Which means before the Thanksgiving holiday. We may give it 3 extra days. Before the Thanksgiving holiday, we will have official funeral proceedings for Discord. And we will move over to the Circle platform. I think everybody will like that better. Anyways, that's happening this week. We're moving. Mind the noise, mind the dust. Of course, there'll be some friction here or there. Please excuse, but it will be worth it. So, back to the business at hand. You can see me, you can hear me. Is the quality back at least too? Since it restarted me, hopefully. Yes. Amazing. Let's get back to that watch list. Caterpillar. Caterpillar is in consolidation. I still need a new drawing tool. This line right here. You know what? I'm going to draw one consolidation line so we have it intact. You can just kind of see, you can see, I'm going to put this in and then I'm going to move it around a little bit where I like it. Bring you down. I'm more concerned about the old points than the new point. Why? Because I don't know if it's done going up. These points are all locked in. Whereas that one is still there. There's my line. right? I missed that. That's okay. This one is still happening. That's my consolidation line. So when I say this is in consolidation, that's what I mean. I'm not trying to trade this bottom right here. I need this to break this line. Maybe touching this area here. I don't need it to get back up here. I just need it to break this line. That's the buyers like smashing through. And then on the subsequent pullback, that's my signal. Right? That's when I'm like, oh, okay. That's now giving me my go ahead. Let me know if you have any questions about that. CMG, I wasn't quite sure what it is. The dust is still all around us here. Gap down, big day, recovery back. I don't know. Coherent, consolidation, earnings could break it. Draw that same line connecting this. It's got to bust that out, come back, right? Interestingly, you can see that back here. And it wouldn't lead to a trade until all the way over here in September, but what a trade it was. So, can you be patient? Diamonds holding it right at the 50. Oh, okay. So, what did we talk about? This is one of our trades. What did I do? I said I pared down some, held more. All right. Giddy up. Let's get a little more out of this thing if we can. Am I right? I think most people still have some of this. Probably not all of it. If you have all of it, then good job, I guess. Give me your thoughts on Fastenal. Miguel, I didn't see that on your list. I thought you still had some. Did you profit take on Friday? Or did you only scale? Fizz gave their earnings big. That's not something that's tradable for us. Exited at the top. All right. Are you sure it was the top? If it's still going? If it's right where it is now, then fair enough. Bitcoin setting up. There's a setup. If you're interested in something that's viable. The trend is bullish. We just had a higher high. Now it's pulling back. Starting to slow down, telling us the buyers are easing up. GE Vernova possibly moving into setup position. That's on our industrials list. Gold setting up, looking viable. Funny thing, gold and I have an interesting relationship. I decided I just should not talk about trading gold, so I won't. I'm never going to mention whether I am or not. I jinx it. And you might think, come on, Scott, you don't have that. You don't have that kind of market power. Well, I beg to differ. You've never seen some of my beautiful classic gold jinx trades. If I showed you, you would be like, you do have that power after all. So, but what I've realized is if I don't talk about it, it loses its influence. So, Google setting up. Stopped out at break even on 1031. I mean, you didn't lose anything. Okay. Google. I think Google's setting up. Great earnings. Gapped up. Gave it back. Still giving it back. But we're still holding on. Goldman Sachs. All these financials. They just haven't broken those support levels. How interesting is it, right? That commonality there. Home Depot. Oh. Okay, so Home Depot, it's a bit in a consolidation, but it held the 50. I think that's valuable. If you wanted to take a pre-earnings trade, you know that we have had a couple of good looks at pre-earnings trades. You might think, the vol's high. It is, but it's going to get higher. Just like it did back here. It got higher going into it. Well, it kind of got higher than rolled over. That was weird around earnings. Robinhood.
Not enough for me. IBM, it's got a lot of work to do too. IWM turned positive. Choppy again. Okay. Interesting. How is it now? Let me go off. Back on. Good? Okay. And I didn't get kicked off. Excellent. JCI is on my list, but nothing there yet. Oh, KKR. That's the one I'm going to take that one for financials. Tesla does look good. I saw it. Sandy made me acknowledge it yesterday. KKR I like. It's setting up. MasterCard, no. It's just choppy around earnings. McDonald's still trying to figure out the onion situation. Meta, if it can hold the 50, I'll probably think about that. Morgan Stanley, another one of those financials. I'm going to pick probably one or two. KKR, maybe another one on top of that. If they turn. Microsoft trying to figure things out. NASDAQ. Close. I don't think it's my internet. I think it's actually my computer. I'm due for an update. I was going to update it yesterday and restart it, and I didn't. And this morning when I came on, I'm like, oh, I bet I'm going to have some issues. So we'll see if later today or tomorrow it'll fix itself when I get that done. I'll try to get it today. Don't forget tonight, happy hour. That's what we're calling it these days. Happy hour. Come chat. NVIDIA looks like it's trying to turn into a signal. PLTR. It's got earnings today after market. We'll see what those are. Gosh, I want to trade that so bad. PayPal. Looks like PayPal could hold the 50 after earnings. NASDAQ is down just about what it started. Southern trying to stabilize. SoFi still coming back a little bit. The SPY has moved flat. Let's take a quick peek at the opening range, and you can see sellers, boom, buyers. There's our range. If we break 571.50 to the upside, I think we'll be okay here. And hold on. Here is Tesla. Possibly going to hold this. Here's TSM, a little behind NVIDIA. So if you like trading one over the other, this is what you'll think about. Here is TTD. Setting up, but you've got earnings. I don't know. Here's the dollar pulling back a little bit. Here's the VIX. Just kind of flat. Here is Walmart. Yes. Hopefully, and I recognize it. If you got the alert over the weekend and made the adjustment based on, I sent a correction. I posted a correction real time. I had some typos. I was trying to hurry. That's on me. I'm going to make sure I put a little more time into double checking my strike prices and my numbers. I think if you went through it, you'd be like, I can figure this out. So let's just say it was purposefully a test to see how you constructed it. Within a little bit, I put the new numbers back out. Hopefully that happened. But I did put out a correction on Sunday. I think maybe based on it opening down a little bit, if you had put the order in, it could have filled still. But now you can see where it's up almost 1% from that. So looks good. Last two alerts were Fastenal and Walmart. They're both holding up just fine here. Let's take a quick peek at the condition or at the XLs. Materials is down other than gold. I like gold, but nothing really else. Communication services That looks like a nice, strong bull flag setup. I like communication services, Google, Meta. Energy, it's up today, but overall, it's, again, I feel like the market is sort of processed the Middle East conflict right now. Financials is a bit meandering, but overall very much still in line with its trend. Industrial still holding the 50 at least. Technology showing increased signs of recovery. And then you have staples. Staples are back down under the 50. Utilities continue. We caught one piece here. Sandy said she got caught in this, which I mean, I can see it. I was right on the doorstep of that one. Literally, I think my ADD is the only reason I didn't trade that. Sometimes it helps, sometimes it hurts. XLV, healthcare is down. XLY. Small loss, though. Well done. That's the key right there. That's the skill. That's not a, oh, I got luck. That's a skill. Losing well on something like that, I love it. XLY. Okay. Real quickly, don't forget. I swear I had. Everything is just running slow. Where is my trading plan? Outline. It's not responding. Okay. We are on section 5. Section 5 is your routines. Daily, I have pre, during, and after market. Then I have a weekend routine. Those are the most important. Monthly, quarterly, that's more like, oh, get ready for taxes. Work on your trading plan. Make sure that you know, things like that. The day-to-day is the most important. The daily routine is about execution. The weekly routine is about preparation. Running through your routines, making sure your watch list is current and fresh, making sure your log is up to date, making sure you've got a short list identified, not short meaning you're going to short the stocks, but a concentrated list, we'll call it. Concentrated list. I like that. A concentrated watch list. Your focus list to start the week. You've got plans in place for every trade that you're in. Like that's all it is. Build good routines, habituate the process. That's what we're working on this week. We've only got 4 more weeks. This one, 3 more sections. And then we'll do a little bit of trade plan prioritization. And then we'll have our trading plans ready to execute in the new year. That's what differentiates us. We're not going to, let's make a trading plan. No, we're preparing for the new year with the trading plan. Our New Year's resolution is trade better. How? By executing the plan you're working on now. It's not like, I'm going to trade better. You're going to trade better because you've got defined rules, defined routines. It's more clear, it's more focused, and so the execution should improve. What we're going to do is we're going to start to mark, and I'm going to create an execution spreadsheet that helps us to track. Hey, are we following the rules? Are we following the plan? It's not enough to have a plan if you're not following it with complete discipline. VIX +2. Sorry, Sam, I missed that earlier. Was that in reply to a comment that I had? Let me know. I'll go back to the VIX. Yeah, +2%. I see it. That's what you mean. It is up again. Yeah. I mean, it's up, but it's just kind of sitting still. I think in this range of ours that we acknowledge it at its highs. We said on yesterday, if we break that 23, that opens a whole different set of issues for us. So, anyways, okay, tonight, 8:30 p.m. Let's just hang out. Let's talk about the election. What's happening? We're going to just talk about the market's perception of it. Nothing political. No one's going to get political. and then we'll go from there. It's good to see everybody. Have a great rest of your day. If I don't see you, I'll see you tomorrow night. Glenn will be there as well. So we'll be processing election coverage while while it's coming in. That should be very, very interesting. I've actually never done that. I'm excited for that. Have a great one, guys. As always, happy trading.